WW7ATS testing. Hey, Richard, how am I coming in? I got an antenna inside the house tonight. You are coming in exceptionally well, Jim, and 7QO. Jim, I went ahead and moved the antenna out on the deck anyway, WW7ATS. Connected N7CS.
Good evening, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airwaves with fast-scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. And it's a crossband repeater and puts out images at 1.2 gigahertz. So I'll take a pause at this point in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact. And hearing that, again, the Western Washington Amateur Television Society has a webpage. All you have to do is Google WW7ATS. Google WW7ATS. And you'll find our schedule and the frequencies that we operate and how to contact us. So with that, we have video check-ins already on the net this evening. We've got Ron, KD7QKU. Jessica, KS7UHK, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, James, WU7N, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is anybody else wishing to join in on that this evening? And hearing that, we'll get the net underway here on the 08 machine. We utilize the 08 machine for our voice transmissions for our video nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well thank you very much, Dave, KD7ZYM and the group. This is KD7QKU. And I'm coming to you tonight from Tacoma, where I had the pleasure of having Richard come over in the afternoon, part of the afternoon, and we went for a ride. He showed me around, showed me where he grew up and went to school, and showed me a couple of nice restaurants, and then we had lunch at a place called Cooper's. It's pretty darn nice. So anyway, that was quite a bit of fun. Nice to see a friendly face. So that's just, and I was going to say, Jessica, I think you need a Grand Street. Maybe you too, Jim, M7QO. So you might think about it. They're inexpensive, $20 or something. Or Richard could help Jim get his. No, Richard is putting his finger. Maybe it's more than that. Didn't seem like it was very expensive anyway. So anyway, I'm enjoying mine. So back to that, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, Ron, thanks for that. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, Jessica, up here in Everett, and the Grand Stream is probably not that expensive. It's the other things to make it all work, which is probably going to be a camera and something to interface to the camera, and it's all that stuff. And I bet you have to hook into some kind of Ethernet or some kind of cable. Like I have my internet coming off the cable, and like where I'm sitting right here is 2 rooms down from where my cable comes in, so I can't watch TV out here very easily because of that, because that's where my outlet is. So, but that's not a bad idea still. It's like, do I need to collect more electronics? I don't know. I just got a whole bunch of electronics today from this guy who's retiring. The one with the QSTs that go back to 1950. 54 and 54? No, 34? They go way back. I can't remember the date I keep on saying. But I got another load of electronics today. Some things like electronic flashes, the kind you would hang around your belt because it needs so many batteries to make these flashes go off. I think they're around 12 volts, so I'm going to try to adapt them because I'm not going to put batteries in these things. So that was kind of fun. I got some of this continuous paper, roll paper that you would put behind a person who's going to be having a picture taken of. So I got some more colors of that from this guy because he had a whole lot of photography stuff. And I took it all up to Mount Vernon today. So it was a long day. It started off at about 3 o'clock today and just got done about a half hour ago. Just worn out, but that's okay because we're about to also go out to Ivers down here in Mount Mukilteo. So I may not be here for the full show here on the internet and on the radio. So this is Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, and I see Lee Bond who's joined us, M7KC in Port Angeles. So what say you, Lee?
I say, good evening. Okay, Dave says I'm in. Got thumbs up. Yep, M7KC here in Port Angeles. Good evening to all of you folks. Good to see you. Just a couple of minutes late here. Getting some things set up. There's a simplex that starts at 8 o'clock. I think it's on 146.55 over in your area. And what I did was I quickly got my 2-meter fixed up there, and I'm going to listen while that goes on here and see if I ever hear anything here in Port Angeles. I'm holding a piece of paper up. But I can really improve the lighting here just by doing a little bounce lighting like that. So I don't have much else to say just yet, so I'll expect to enjoy a nice night and send it back to Dave. M7KC, Port Angeles, very good. Connected, N7KC.
N7KC, thanks for joining the net. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, I'm checking to see if you guys can hear me tonight. Okay, good. The Echo link is working just clear the bell right now from the QTH here in Tacoma at my mom and brother's place. So that's good. Now, but I don't have Grandstream, and so Grandstream is, I'm not able to switch that tonight. I went over the rounds to see if I could get into Grandstream that way, but either I didn't know what I was doing, or maybe the fact that the 1.2 gig feed side needs to be restarted, that could have been the reason why I couldn't connect to Grandstream at once. But I don't know. My little brain gets stuck on these things. I just have to kind of throw up my hands. So it's going to take someone like Bob or Gary tonight if we're going to have any Grandstream whatsoever. But I expect to be back, being able to do that by Wednesday. So let's see, a couple things real fast. I think someone was asking, might have been Cuttington Jim about the Northern Lights. I never saw them, but evidently my mother-in-law saw them at like 3:30 in the morning and laying in bed. And that's Tacoma by Ron's house. So I guess they're about as strong as they can get around here. And so I was just so furious with myself, not remembering and making a note to check it out, because I knew, I even heard the CME blasting out somewhere, it's blasting out KJR radio, and you can hear that just fine, and no, it is very static. And let's see, the other thing is I had a lot of fun with Ron today, and I love it when I can take someone over to Fort Nisqually. He's never seen Fort Nisqually, and that's where, 50, 60 years ago, I used to play there, Cowboys and Indians. It was the most fun in my life in those times, and it's really cool even today. With that, KD7ZL and K7ITS, back in that control.
K7ITX, and for ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's go to Jim, N720, Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, good evening, everyone. Dick, thanks for remembering about the Northern Lights there. I just have way too much light pollution around my property in order to see anything. Have to get away somewhere. That's interesting, though. 3:30, lying in bed. Wow. I'm not sure I would stay awake for that. Wonder if the Northern Lights there woke her up. But that's interesting. My wife's been always meaning to see that, even though she worked for a couple of years in Alaska. She never did get around to seeing them. And, oh well. I saw them a number of times, but I've always been in the air when I've seen them. Let's see. Fort Nisqually. That's another one of those things on my to-do list, I guess. Haven't made it there. Ron, Grandstream. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I don't know. I don't have a computer here in my shack. I found a way to get Wi-Fi out here at least most of the time. But I have to do something different than what I'm doing now, apparently. The repeater system has changed, and my environmental conditions here, I think, have changed as well, and everything has just kind of added up to a situation where I can't really get in to the repeater all that well. I am transmitting a picture now. I can see the picture that I'm transmitting, but I can't see it on the 1.2, unfortunately. So, c'est la vie. you, Dave, and 7QO.
And 7QO, thanks for dropping by. Let's move on to James, WW7M in Bellevue.
Oh, good evening, everyone. We'll tell you otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and leave a 1.2 gigahertz transmitter set to the shack up on the mountain.
They were out of the treasure hunting business, and I guess it was my treasure to find. So with that, that's what I've got to say from Open Lake City. This is Dave, KD7EYM. So let's go up to Ron, KD7QKU.
HYB.
K7HYB, we got you, Gary.
Okay. Good evening, Gary. Glad to have you with the group tonight. This is KD7QKU. Well, James said his father was in this, I guess it's Frankie Jones. Man, oh man, if you guys haven't seen that place, it's spectacular. Probably the nicest retirement center around, maybe even in the state of Washington, I don't know. It's just absolutely beautiful. And it's just down the road here from where we live. And there's another one where Richard's mother-in-law is right next to it, and it's very nice too. Both of them are really, really nice. Yeah, Fort Nisqually was, it was a real fort. I mean, with the logs that stick up in the air and the guardhouses and everything. I think Richard said that they moved it in from maybe down by Nisqually, or DuPont or someplace, and set it up. I don't know. I think that's what he said, but it's very authentic. So we're going to have to go over there in the summer, and I guess there's a museum and stuff there. And then there was apparently there used to be a lumber or mill operating thing there too, which sounds like it was real interesting, but they've closed that down. The Northern Lights. I have hardly ever seen the Northern Lights. I saw a little glimmer of them, I think, once in our backyard looking north when they were saying they were out, but I've always wanted to see them. I mean, we were up in Alaska, but we're there in the summer, and I went to a Northern Light museum thing, and they showed movies about it. And I wanted to go up there. Our wedding anniversary is, in February, and it's the same day as this other couple, and we always celebrate it together. And I tried to talk everybody into flying up to Fairbanks on our wedding anniversary. We'd always go someplace and do something like that. Why don't we fly up there and spend the weekend and see the Northern Lights? They thought I was nuts. We'd taken the train once, and we went up to, where did we go? Went up into Canada, quite a ways up. Saw a hockey game, and that was fun. Riding the train, it was in, of course, February, there's a lot of snow in it now. Went by a couple of frozen lakes where they were ice fishing, and we picked up people along the way and dropped people off and supplies. It was an interesting trip. So let's see, Richard had talked to Bob K9PQ, and I kind of thought he was on. I wonder if maybe he got down and went to sleep like I do. I probably should have sent him a wake-up call. He was going to join us, I thought, tonight. That would have been nice. We haven't seen Bob for a while. So, I guess I don't have a whole lot more to say. I guess we can't show any video because nobody can switch in the grand stream, so... Sounds like I timed out the repeater. Too much BS, I guess. Alright, back to that KD7QKU.
Well, we did get the most of the conversation there, Ron. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Well, my weather detector here sitting on my bench says yes, it's going to rain, which is always nice when it agrees with what's actually going on. It's 67 degrees outside when I was out there today. It's like, wow, it's like almost 70 degrees. It was quite something. But I wonder if this rain coming in is like one of those Pineapple Expresses where it's coming up from Hawaii or something like that. I don't know. But I expect a lot of rain if this thing is telling me it's going to rain. Let's see. I have not been to Fort Nisqually that I remember. I'll have to look it up on Google Earth and take a look and see if I've been there. But I don't remember ever being there. And Richard, your location over there looks like you're in the basement, actually. Except for you have some nice looking books and some nice binders right to your right shoulder there, and looks like something like technical manuals or something. Let's see. So speaking of technical manuals, the convection part of our Frigidaire oven went out last night. I had 2.5 pounds of meatloaf. I was just ready to put into the oven, and I set the thing to 400, and I walked in the other room to keep watching my show and let it warm up, wait for the beep. Came back out, it was sitting at 113 degrees. So that wasn't going to work. So I went to my barbecue in the back, filled it up with some charcoal briquettes, and started a fire, put it out there for a while. That worked pretty good. But then I realized my oven also has a lower half I can just do baking in, and so I was able to soup that up and finish it off in the lower part of the oven. So I called up the place I bought it from 8 years ago, and they're going to come out this next Friday and tinker with it, and probably make it work just fine. Probably clean it all up and make it work just fine. So, but for a few half an hour or an hour, I was in panic mode. How am I going to cook this without it going bad? So it turned out really good. We ate it all up. So I'm going to pass it back to them. This is KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, thanks for that, Jessica. Let's go to Lee, M7TC in Port Angeles. Okay, very good. Well, I'm assuming, M7TC in Port Angeles, I'm assuming that the boot is on the Norwegian Encore. I see that he's on Echo, and I'm watching rain traffic here, and they're at Port Angeles. In fact, it looks like they just offloaded their pilot onto the Wambatuka. Yes, the Wambatuka is just catching up with them. That may actually be it. They dropped their speed to 10.8 knots. The boarding speed is always 10 knots. Boarding speed and so forth, and it looks like the Wambatuka is coming up on the starboard side. And the Norwegian Encore is kind of pointing toward Victoria right now, but they slowed way down. So I would ought to be listening to this. At least I show him on Echo. I don't know if he said he can tell me or not, but I'll bet he's on there. He said last week he was going to leave today. I got on it, and he's on Echo. So there you go. Okay. Well, I like that micro stream going, to be honest. But I am one floor above, and I hate to punch holes in the floor, and I don't have a good cushion because it has to run directly into the router, which is down below me. And so I don't have a good scheme to get through the house yet to run a cable down there, but that's all I really have to do. But I did use grand screen from here. I was all set up radio lights and stuff down in the family room, and now I have one of the bedrooms upstairs. And so forth. I was handy to get my antennas in the upper windows, but it's not so handy for everything right now. It was a pretty nice day here today. We've been having a little rain in the morning, a 10-inch down, overnight in the rain gauge, and it was pretty warm. It was 49 or 50 degrees this morning. And we did have a cold snap where it got down 10 degrees colder. Well, more than that. It was down to 34 here one night, 2 nights. So we have not had a freeze here just yet. And now time, on to Jim out there in Bennington. I don't know if Jerry's here or not. Anyway, back to you, David. KC, Port Angeles. M7TC, thanks for that, Lee. Let's go to Gary, K7HYD.
Good evening all. Am I to understand that there's nobody to switch the camera on the grand stream? I can do it here if you need it. Actually, you need to restart, Gary, if you know how to do that. Oh. Well, I don't think I do. That and access to the grand stream to turn it on and off has never been shared with me. So anyway, but good evening all to the net. Things are slacking off a little bit, and so I'm not so busy trying to keep the business right now. And although things have been busy, just kind of quiet right now. But I've got my mug shot up. Whether anybody can see it or not, probably not. But I should try switching it and see if it works. Of course, everybody else can do that too, I would think. Anyway, talking about the Northern Lights, I had the opportunity many years ago. I won't say how long ago it was, but I was in my 30s at the time. And I was in Alaska, and I spent a year up there on top of several very tall mountains at radar sites. And so when the opportunity came around, I was able to have a front row seat for some of those light shows up there. They are fantastic. I've even seen it down here at my home at least once and maybe twice when they were really active. So anyway, it's just been a quiet day. Went out to dinner last night and went out to Angels of the Winds and gambled for a little while, and came back, had a piece of carrot cake, and that was the exciting part of my day. And today was just pretty much sitting around, not doing anything in particular, anything in particular. Back to you, Dave. KD7ZYM, KD7HYB.
KD7HYB, Gary, thanks for that. And it's ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay. Well, first of all, my mother-in-law did not stay up till 3:30 in the morning to see the Northern Lights. She just happened to wake up. And evidently from her bed and out her bedroom window, she had a beautiful apartment that's a corner apartment, just lots of windows, and I suspect there's a lot of privacy, so she probably had her blinds wide open and just happened to wake up from her bed. She at first wasn't sure what it was, but being an Icelander, a native Icelander too, she'd seen the Northern Lights many times, but I think this may have been the first time she's seen them from Puget Sound region. Well, okay, that was pretty cool. Hi Jay, good to hear you, a long time. Every once in a while looking forward to seeing you a little bit more, and especially if I'm going to try to find you on my VLC, see if I can find you on the maybe around. And I am talking to you, that's kind of like a bomb shelter, but no, this is where I lived when I was 15 years ago, when I was 18. This is my bedroom. This is where I proposed to my wife, Debbie. There's a lot of history here. I don't particularly like to be down here, or even here. Memories are great, but there's a lot of, there's bad and good, and then, of course, I'm here taking care of my mother while my brother is on a little vacation at Leavenworth, and she asked me today what my name was, and then she asked me if I seem like her mother. So that's pretty fun. I actually had a lot of fun with her. It's her little dog. She's got 3 dogs, but in fact that's why I'm down here instead of upstairs. So there you go. KD701 and KD7ITX back in that control.
KD7ITX, thanks for that, Richard. Let's go on to Jim, N7QO.
7 Kilo. Thank you, Dave. Well, Dick, yeah, it's easy to see who kind of runs the family. I don't know why. I have several friends whose pets seem to be in charge of everything. It's probably a time when children used to be in charge of everything, but children eventually move out, or at least most of the time they move out. Sometimes they move back, but then hopefully they move out again eventually. I've got one friend who's like 87 and his, anyway, he's kind of looking after his adult son since he lost his job. But I guess we've got to help each other out. That's a good thing, but let's see. Jessica, oven is in need of repair. I hope they can fix the thing, because I have a friend who is remodeling her kitchen, and it was all prompted by her refrigerator breaking, and then she wanted to get a different refrigerator, but what wound up happening is she waited several months, seems like maybe 5 months or so, for a refrigerator to show up, and it just drove her nuts. There are definitely pieces of merchandise on all those ships out there anchored in Los Angeles harbor. It's not real good. Reset. And let's see. Oh, Dave, you were saying something about a metal detector. Yeah, I've got one too. It's not an expensive one. It was a fairly cheap one, but it does detect metal. The most significant thing I did with mine is sometime after 9/11, they passed this law that said they need to look at people's shoes, and so I used a metal detector to scan all of my shoes, and I was surprised at the shoes that had metal shanks. Most of them actually did, and I had 2 of my pairs of shoes rebuilt by a shoemaker to remove the metal shanks and replace them, and it didn't bother me going through security here in the United States, but every country seems to have its own set of rules, and there were places where they would definitely get you. So it's useful for a lot of stuff. You can have fun with the metal detector, but another thing, the problem I have, mine uses a whole bunch of batteries. Seems like 8 batteries or so. So good luck with that. You might find it, if yours is similar to mine, it might be rather expensive. Probably an alternative would be get rechargeables if you're going to use it a lot. But sounds like fun anyway. Back to you, Dave, and 7 Kilo.
And 7 Kilo, let's go to James, WW7ATS.
Well, thank you for the information on the refrigerator, because I was just thinking the other day that my refrigerator is now 30 years old and still going strong. But I remember when I bought this place, they took the refrigerator out and left with it. They stripped it out of the kitchen, and so I was left with no refrigerator. So I had to go, I think, Good Guys or someplace back in the 90s there and buy a fridge. And it's hung in there, and at one point I thought I was going to have to replace it, but I put a bunch of gel packs in the freezer at the advice of a handyman who said, well, you can probably get a few more years out of it by putting cold ballast in the freezer, because that's what regulates the temperature of the entire refrigerator-freezer unit. So I did that, and he was absolutely correct. So if you have a freezer-refrigerator combo that's on the edge, just try that, and maybe you can get a few more years of life out of it. Jessica, I need to know how many square feet your oven is, because if it's got 2 stories, I could probably move in. It's probably got the same number of square feet as the place I'm living in. And it wouldn't be bad as long as you don't, need it for anything else. You have to pay some reasonable rent. So anyway, I thought I'd mention that. And Richard, thank you for the explanation of where you're at. I was wondering, it does kind of look like a bomb shelter or something, but I was wondering where you were at there with the circuit breakers behind you and everything. Your mom sounds sweet. And the Frank W. Jones place out on the peninsula there, my dad, of course, is no longer there. He passed away a few years ago. But yeah, that place was amazing and took care of him the last 3 years of his life. And I'm really glad they were there. And let's see, Gary, I did not know you were radar tech up in Alaska. I didn't know that about you. For all the time up and down that area, I can't remember ever seeing an Northern Lights, but I was always in a hurry. So I missed it the other night. I usually sleep in 4-hour cycles, just like the people in ancient times did. Actually, that's the normal way humans sleep. We only became abnormal sleeping 8 hours at a stretch when clocks were invented. And if you don't believe that, just go read the original Greek of the Iliad, where I believe Homer is being advised on how to assassinate Poseidon. And he's told, well, get him in the middle of his second sleep, is how the Greek literally translates to. So apparently people back then slept in 2 cycles as well. So anyway, well, that's all I have for this round. Let's see. This is James, WW7M in Northeast Bellevue. Let me go ahead and turn it back to our net control. Dave, take it away.
WW7M, this is Dave, 87ZYM in Lake City. Well, let's see, I've got the head of this metal detector. I think I can turn it on and get it go through a cycle. Your hand like this. Anyway, the RF seems to be affected by the radio, but that's part of the setup. It goes through about 15 different phases to set up, and different depths and shielding that it has on it, so it's kind of interesting. And it is the state-of-the-art type of device right now that's on the market, and it's only controlled by 2 9-volt batteries, so I was very surprised with that. I have another metal detector that's very similar, I guess, to what Jim had. It takes about 8 different batteries, and it's 9-volt batteries to fire it up. And that thing's about 25, 30 years old. But this one was kind of interesting. Like I say, it was a treasure hunt, I might say. And it was about $300 worth of stuff with it. It had never been put together totally, batteries in it, or simple the coils or the shafts on it, and it did have another wand that went with it that you can wave over something to double check the metal with that, so you can come down to the precise of a dime according to the manual. So I played with that a little bit, and it did move well with the dime. You could just get it within the proximity of the dime, and it would be without using the big coils, kind of like a pin. So that was kind of interesting. So you never know what you're going to run into when you're out junking. So anyway, after having one, I really don't know if I needed another one. But the deal of the steel, I had to take in the device. So that's pretty much it. This is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. So let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7ZYM in the group. This is KD7QKU. Yeah, Dave, that sounds like a pretty good find. I was just sitting here, my brother had one that was in a case. I forget the name of it. He paid a whole bunch of money thing had taken a lot of batteries. They didn't offer it to me when he passed away, and I don't think I really wanted it. So anyway, I don't have one. But occasionally they would be handy. To look for buried wires or buried pipes. So anyway, talking about wires, that Cat 5 cable I run from my modem, I run it through the house. The modem's in the other room. Wade said he had about a spool of cables about 1,000 feet and connectors and everything, so he was going to come over, run one underneath the house, and so we'll probably do that in the future, and then I won't have to run it through the house. But for right now, I just plug it in and run it across the roof and into here and plug it in. So it is possible to do that. I just have to, do it each time until I get fixed otherwise. And you were talking about refrigerators. Well, we kind of ran into the same thing here. We wanted to buy an upright freezer. We had a chest type over at Bellevue. We didn't bring it because we didn't really have room for it. So we wanted an upright. And we kind of had to buy what they had. And they had quite a few 13 cubic foot freezers. I probably would have bought one a little bigger, but it was fine. It's worked out. It's probably all we need. Really, the more you have, the more stuff you put in it. We don't need any more stuff. So, but it's nice to have an extra freezer. In fact, talk about extra stuff. So we have a pantry here. We never had a pantry before, but we had a cupboard out in the garage. And then we had to, let me let it drop. I'm going to time it out again. Anyway, we have a pantry here, but it's kind of small. Joanne just has a pack full. So, in the bottom of the coat closets, kind of in the entry, there was space in the hall around the corner from the front door. So anyway, I said, Joanne, there's space in the bottom. We could actually put a big plastic, tub down there, and you could put stuff in it. She seems to like to have a lot of extra flour and brown sugar and stuff that she bakes. She doesn't like to run out and go to the store. So she always has quite a bit of that stuff on hand. So we bought a big plastic container the other day, and I don't know if she's put anything in it or not, but she has the shelves so stacked up in the pantry. I don't know how she can find anything. Anyway, she manages, I guess. So I guess that's about it. But yeah, no, it is possible to run the cable through the house. I don't know, Lee, how many feet you'd have to have, but you could run it out and run it back. But that's what I'm doing right now. I need about, 20 or 25 feet, but it's working. All right, back to that KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, let's go to Jessica, KS7UHK.
Well, I'm sure your wife knows where everything is because, people who have their projects, I know where, I'm one of these, I don't have a photographic memory, but I see stuff, and I look at stuff, and I kind of take this mental image of what I saw and where I saw it, so I'm really good at finding things, and that's kind of a really good trait to have, and unless I inadvertently move something around, then I'm just totally lost. Or if someone else moves it, then I'm completely lost. Let's see, as for that 11, James, I can tell you, it has a fan in the convection part, so there, it has the air conditioner. It doesn't, even though it's called a Frigidaire stove, it makes no sense, right? We used to have when I was a kid, we had a Frigidaire refrigerator and a hot plate oven, but this is just completely backwards. They're just confusing you. It's like fake news, but we won't talk about that. Metal detector, I think that's cool, but I think when I keep on watching these shows on TV that are like hunting for treasures and different things, LiDAR, that's the way to go. That's what I want next, a LiDAR. So with that, I'm going to say 73s, and I'm going to go off to my merry way to go have dinner tonight. So we'll see you next time. This is Jessica up in Everett. This is KF7UHK.
KF7UHK. You got your 7-3, so have a great evening. Let's go to Lee, M7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, Dave, what about Bert? He's on okay rank. Is he waiting to get in? Go ahead.
He hasn't,
Okay, well, the ship they just got the fire off just a few minutes ago, and they're on the way to the outbound lanes right now. And, but he's been consistently on anchor length for the whole night. So I was just wondering, maybe you should call him and see if he would give us a report. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll take a break right now. M7CS Bert, are you on the air?
Hi, this is M7CS. I don't know if the internet's working good. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me?
We got a solid copy on you right now.
Okay, cool. So I am on the ship, as we said. I'm on the other opposite side of the ship on my balcony than I was last time around, so my signal isn't anywhere near as good. I also didn't bring as much equipment with me this time, so maybe I'll try to pop on the video after the net here for a few minutes. I can only use one internet connection at a time with the plan I pay for. But yeah, it's the cruise just started today. So far so good. We're Equilink here. Let's see what else is going on. Just an update on the generator installing that's happening at my house. They did not get the gas portion finished, connecting the natural gas line up. They did a test, and unfortunately the WIP test did not pass. They put like 20 psi and just of air in there, and they needed to hold that in the pipe for a couple hours, but unfortunately after about 20 minutes it leaked, so they're going to have to come out and recheck the pipe for leaks and redo part of it. But anyway, that's probably it for now. This is Bert in the ocean over Equilink, M7CS, back to that.
Well, thanks, M7CS, for joining the net. So let's go back to Lee, M7KC.
Okay, I'm working now. Yeah, M7KC Lee on Port Angeles. Yeah, I watched the Norwegian Encore approach, and the fireboat went out, and then went alongside and all that, and then they split. And so he's on his way now. He knows that route pretty well, I think, Bert does. Went longer, he went same spot. Now, I guess there's a little variation in this cruise, but they obviously had a really good time on the last cruise, and so we should well on this one, too. That's fun. Oh, my gosh. Oops, I forgot to push my camera. I don't even know how long I've been talking. Oh, dear. But I won't talk long. Moving into Jessica's oven for pizza. I don't know, Joe. That's pretty good. Oh, gosh, I can't think of anything else. I didn't jot it down. But it's good to hear Gary tonight. I hadn't heard him on for a long time, and Jim sounds pretty good over there in Covington. And you guys all look good here on the screen, so no issues there. With that, I think I better just quit talking. M7KC, I'm in Port Angeles. We here. That's you, Dave. Go ahead.
M7CSN for ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Gary, K7HYB.
KD7ZYM and the group K7HYB, good evening all. And good night to Jessica. Nice to have you with us. And I'm just kind of curious, James, I'm looking at the stream coming from the site, and I see the inside of the shack, and so I guess I don't understand what's going on. Is you can't switch it over to the input for the incoming stream? Because I'm on there right now. Well, you're switching it in and out. see her doing that. So just kind of curious what the situation was there. Anyway, I don't have to read too much more. Yeah, I was in Alaska for about a year up there, working on the triple-surge scout system called White Alice, and that was when things were really crummy here in Seattle. I needed a job, so they were hiring up there. I wasn't particularly wild about going to Alaska, but it was a matter of paying my bill or going broke. So that's where it ended up. And it was not too bad up there, colder than hell. And a couple times I remember standing out there in the cold at 24 below zero, and my ears were freezing. That's not fun. So I guess I was going to switch over to the streaming input, but I didn't want to disturb anything. So anyway, back to you, Dave. I'll put my 783s out of here and say goodnight to everybody. We'll maybe see you on Wednesday. K7ZYM, K7HYB.
K7HYB, thanks for joining the net this evening. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Sorry for the delay. I started monkeying around as Gary was talking to on a few YouTube, and but yeah, Gary kind of got fouled up, not doing my normal QQs with the ground stream, and the normal people like myself or Bert, or even Bob came on PQ. With none of us are available to do the ground stream, and so and then it came in a little late, no big deal. So anyway, it just wasn't available. So hopefully this Wednesday I'll have my bugs worked out, and the ground stream and YouTube will be back to where it normally is. So okay, well, let's see. That being said, tomorrow's Sunday. Got one more night to go after this, and so I think probably I'll just immerse myself in NFL football and see how the Seahawks do with their new quarterback and well, I don't know, kind of mediocre defense. And other than that, you keep my mom happy and fed. That's the main job that I have. And she's pretty easy to please. I'm telling you, I get nothing but compliments on my cooking, which is pretty rare. So, all right, guys, it's been a lot of fun. And Bert, oh my God, I'm going to have to pick your brain about this. This is the second time, and the YL and myself. We're starting to get kind of antsy, and now that I've got all this babysitting I've done for the dogs and my mom, I've got my brother on the hook for having duties at my house now. So I see an opportunity to do what you're doing, Bert. So thanks a lot for the report. It's really great to hear you out there. So, I'm sure it won't get back to me. I'll be amazed if it does. So 73, everybody. K7ZYM, K7ITS, back in that control.
K7ITS, let's go to Jim, N720.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Wow, Bert, hearing from you on the Norwegian Encore. Good to hear from you out there. Pleasant voyage. Gary, I didn't know you actually worked on Project White Alice. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that was a 70-centimeter communications link that When my wife was living in Juneau, there was one telecommunications operator in Alaska State that was still using that. They only had maybe 30 to 35 lines of communication, but they were using it for telephone system communication. It had been repurposed from I guess it was maybe part of a two-line system originally, but was repurposed and still in use by a commercial operator. That's pretty cool. Wonder what happened to it now. Wonder if they're still up there. And let's see. Just looking at the picture of the inside of our repeater, I'm curious, what happened to our spider? He's not there anymore. I wonder if he moved to a better location. I thought the repeater shack there would be pretty cozy, but I don't know. Anyway, he abandoned us. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, let's go on to James, WW7ATS.
Well, yeah, a lot of people have been moving around taking advantage of real estate markets, so it wouldn't surprise me if our spider moved on. But, you know, I recall I was up there, I cleaned the web off, and then I think just right after that there was another web, and now there isn't. So maybe someone else is cleaning some webs off too. Dave, thank you for showing us the metal detector. That does bring back memories, because this is half a century ago. My, how the time flies. This one I remember was a family kind of decision, because my dad was into that. And the first round was a Heathkit metal detector, which you can imagine about how well that worked, a Heathkit 50 years ago. I remember the coil was about the size of a dinner plate, or in my mind, maybe the size of a large serving plate. And it would tell you metal was there, but by the time you excavated 5 cubic feet of dirt, maybe you could find a dime or whatever the thing had detected. So the big decision was to go to, I think it was called Treasure Master, a giant big blue box. And as I recall, I don't know how many batteries it took. In my mind, it was like 5 batteries in there, none of which were manufactured on planet Earth. You had to send away to Mars for them. So I think they're in the business of selling batteries, not metal detectors. But yeah, that does bring back some memories. But yeah, that was when I was in the law with that, and that was a lot of fun. We never found any treasure, but we found everything else. So anyway, I can see we're coming up fast on the top of the hour. So this is James, WW7ATS, Northeast W. I'm going to turn it back to our net control. Dave, take it away.
WW7ATS, James, thanks for that. Oh, Northern Lights, boy, I tell you, in eastern Washington in the summertime and in the fall especially, you could see the Northern Lights. It really light up the horizon. A lot of times, the best one I ever had was covering a story in Hanford, out on the reservation there, and the nuclear reservation. And boy, the sky lit up. I've never seen it so bright. That was my fondest memories of the lights. I was up in Alaska during the pipeline covering a lot of stories, and we'd go back to Fairbanks all the time to transmit our video back. This was like the new era that we had electronic cameras, and we could record stuff on tape instead of using film. And so we go to Fairbanks to the comm office they had there, and then use the satellite to transmit stuff back to Seattle and to the network. So that was kind of interesting. So I had my chance with early exposure to satellite video. And all good things have to come to an end, as our net has now closed off. And we'd like to thank the owners and the operators of the 08 machine, the CTAC Repeater Group, for allowing us to utilize the 08 machine for our voice transmissions for our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, 87CYM, signing off.
N7KC disconnected. N7CS disconnected. K7ITX disconnected.